Okay, so part 2 of higher self equals self connections, but it's more of past life. So, and I like to call it higher self equals self connections, possible past life connections. So yeah, basically the Christ self that connected with me is an unconditional form. And so it loves and cares, but then I realized that it was probably God I am that came to me in Christ form. And I didn't fully see or wasn't able to fully see the face of that person that time, but I did see it another time. I was able to see the face and see that the face was similar to my own, but Christ form of what other children others have said they've seen Christ and God as in dreams or after death experiences where they died and then came back, or was in surgery and then came back out of the surgery, or hurt and then they came out of it and came back and said they saw angels and stuff later. And most of them go into heaven and they've seen their sister or brother or someone that they didn't even know even existed, or that was a miscarriage of their moms, and then they are still alive and growing in another realm. And the mother will see that in the other next realm, because once you die in this form, you go to a next realm and you grow up in that realm until you're ready to go into a new form. So you get your ultimate life. And what's interesting is there's no time to those realms, yet you grow whatever life you want to grow through in that realm. So you do grow old, or you stay a certain age once you get to a certain point. And you can be that way for as long as you want and enjoy those different levels of self until you're ready to move on to your next journey. And that's what I was shown and told, is everybody's going to get their ultimate heavens. So none of you are going to any form of hell dimension, because to you it won't be a hell dimension. It will be your heaven. That's what I was shown. It's unconditional love connection. The only ones that would go to a hell would go to a dimension where they are in that resonates with them, so that they don't bring that to other realms. But some of them will try to break out of that realm, not wanting to be there, wanting to bring that same energy into other forms of realms to infect those realms, to be part of those, to be in those realms at a certain time, because they resonate to both. They want to be part of that, so they get what they want. We all will get what we want, but only at the times that we're allowed to have it. And then it will correct ourselves when we realize it no longer will serve us, or we would be destroyed. So it's either they die and never exist anymore, or they change and adapt to their vibration, or go to a new realm so that they don't keep on being a parasite to other realms, because eventually they have to suffer or die if they try to force other forms of vibrations to be their vibration. Everybody has to be their own vibrational connection, but some don't know how amazing the higher realms will be, because they're afraid. Their ego form of self, which is a fake form of spirit, is afraid to move on or to accept a higher way of being until you feel that you deserve it, or until you feel it's possible. So that's just how that works. So for me, what have I seen personally, past life wise? Do I feel that I'm connected to any form of God, or do I know of any past life? Have I been through any past life regression therapy? I've tried, but I've never really had any success, because I can't visualize like others can. Because for a purpose, it's like there's so many blockages within my mind, the overlapping connections, that there's a purpose, because I'm only here because I've already succeeded to be in a higher realm. So I'm only here for the purpose of being a master healer. And then once I've done my part, I'll get memory that comes back easily when the time is right. But it seems like all the different realms, either the ones that don't like me can't take me out because they've tried and haven't been able to, or they say they won't for whatever reason, but they would like to. Maybe some would. But some of them would do it based off of false pretenses about me or irritations that they have about me for bringing up information they don't want people to know, thinking I'm of some against their God connection when I'm not. I'm about peace and healing for all. But if they're not about peace and healing for all, then their God is not the God I want to serve or be part of, nor am I part of that. So I think that's possibly why the almighty I Am reaches out to me a ton, just randomly, and not all the time, but always is there and helping me when it really is needed. Doesn't mean that I don't suffer or have suffering issues or things that I deal with because of attacks or allowance that's been allowed but then not allowed at many times. But when they do, then it comes at them tenfold, or so many of them avoid me. They're afraid of me. And there's a reason why they're afraid of me, because they know that once they mess with me, they get attacked hugely. It comes at them big time. And they notice it too. Some of them don't notice that it was because of that, but eventually they will. But when they will, it's going to be even worse if they keep on doing it. And that's the same if I or any of us did that to other forms of connection to God. I know better. And so I do my part to be honest and open about things. But I've always been underestimated or overestimated. And it's interesting because no one knows what to really expect of me, because they've been lied on all sides. The only way to really know the true me is to talk to me, because I will be completely honest and open with my heart. Now, I don't blame others for choosing not to trust me or others based on what we grew up in religions, what I used to be like. I thought I was doing the right thing, and I was doing good things in a way that I felt was supposed to, but then there was some really stupid, bad crap ideas that I did that were just dumb. Now, I'm choosing not to swear too much on here, but if I do, forgive me. I'm about honesty and integrity, and it's not about the words or the tone that comes from me or others. It's about the heart. So there's many people that focus on people's tones, and they make assumptions that I would tell them to go to heck or things like that, which I would not. I don't even believe in that. If I have said that to anybody, it's usually if they say it to me. But even if they say it to me, I usually don't even choose to do that. So if you feel that you've gotten a call from me, or someone else said that they got a call from me saying that I said this or said that or did this or did that or implied this or implied that, honestly, only if they did it to me or said it to me in the past. My brothers and family, they've sworn at me, and I usually haven't sworn at them until they've sworn at me. And I usually try not to, because I don't believe in swearing vibrations. But when I was first leaving the church I was in, I was speaking in that term of focus or reaction, because I wanted to be honest and open with them. I didn't want to be a facade. I didn't want to be fake. But they made assumptions that I don't want a relationship or love. Well, it's because they're not awakened. They've chosen not to be awakened. They've chosen to follow their path of religion belief that's selective, which is fine. That's their life path. And so that's what they're going to do. Then there's some brothers that believe in it that are good and that are neutral and kind, and we haven't said anything horrible. And anything that we have in our past, I've apologized for them for. And if I haven't, then they would need to talk to me so that we can discuss why maybe I haven't, is because they're the ones that did it and not me in that situation, but they're implying that I did. And I would say, well, if I did do that, that's not what I'm about. And I'm sorry you would think that I would do that, because I don't want you to feel that way about me, nor would I want to ever do that to you in that way. But the problem with narcissistic tendencies and gaslighting teachings from churches and connected cabal churches connections, and even churches that don't think they're cabal connected but are, they teach you to doubt people and put them down for a purpose, so you manifest that, rather than manifesting that they're already complete and that they'll enter heaven. How about you talk about them already being complete and that they will get into heaven and that they will be forgiven and loved? Because that's the vibration that will grow, and then they will end up there. But if you keep talking about that they're going to fail, then you're just promoting failure to them. You're putting the vibration of failure, you're speaking it into being. What you say, what you do unto others, you do to yourself. What you say about others, you're saying about you, and you're going to get there too. You're vibrating you and them to go to those realms. And then they will end up wanting to be there, so it will be their heaven, unless they really don't want that and don't desire and don't resonate that, then they're going to go a different direction, a different place. And then you'll definitely be separated from that version of self, and you'll both be in different forms of heavens. They're slightly similar, maybe even. If you're both about peace, you might end up in the same one. And you'll realize that you were both okay. And then you'll hug and bawl and apologize to each other. That's just how it will be. But it's unconditional love is what I was drawn to. And that's what saved my life, of what to do. And I was told what to do for others, to let them know. So I got onto the target of all the higher connected beings that just want to take me and others out. But here's what's great about me and others and our hearts. Personally, one thing that I realize so powerfully is that we all matter in the heart, the energy connection. And I'll put information about Grit Braid, Bruce Lipton, and non-medicine hospital studies and studies on water knowledge that he brings up and has talked about, that Dr. Emoto and others know about too. We have the ability to manifest our own destinies for each other. And we can all bless things into being for one another unconditionally. Christ teaching knowledge is unredacted. And this is what the cabals and groups connected to the cabals and religions connected to cabals want to hide you from. They don't want peace. They want their form of control. If it's not about unconditional love, to heal all, bless all, forgive all, and let others be them, but heal them and believe in them and be there for them and let them be the full form, and not thinking that you have all the answers, all the knowledge. Once you realize that everything's connected, you connect to the inner self within, which is the inner Christ self, which is more than just Christ, other forms and other deities. So when it comes to past life, I don't know if I'm connected to any form of, like, Thor or any of them. It'd be kind of cool to have ability to control lightning, or to do some of the things that some of the mystical gods were said to be able to do. Hercules, all those different Greek gods and other forms. But at the same time, I don't really. So if I am connected to any one of them, I would say it would be the heartfelt ones that are fae and maybe mystical. It could be that goddess of love, Aphrodite, and others, and Cupid's connection could be forms of me, or I will become forms of them. It seems like I'm connected to the mystical creature route. And I did have a wolf dog growing up, and I did have a cat that really loved me and huggled me a lot. And it was a black cat, really fluffy one, but it cared about everybody and was very cuddly to anyone. And it was because any form or pet that I had that was around me became cuddly for others, because it loved me and I taught it to love others. because it's been around me so much. But I wasn't always that way. There was one time that I wanted to see if, as a younger kid, it was being stupid, I wanted to see if my cat would ever get mad. So I kept pushing my cat on a bed one time when I lived in Taylorsville a long time ago. So this would have been when I was 8 or younger. And I was pushing it to see if it would do something, and then it got really mad and had like devil eyes, and it scratched my face because I was irritating it. But that's the last time I ever bugged that cat. But ever since then, that cat always just snuggled, and I snuggled with it, and it was always there for me. But I wanted, me being a stupid kid at that young age, I grew up really fast from doing stupid, selfish, like poor loser attitude. I got out of that by the time I was in high school or past high school. I started getting out of the poor loser phase. By the time I was in college time frame and a little bit after that, I started getting out of it. I still had a little bit of it, but by the time I woke up in 2015 and by 2017, that's when my heart started to grow and become more. But it wasn't until the end of 2019 that I started to be the real me. But then I started deciding what type of me I wanted to be. And it wasn't until October of 2020, September, October, that I finally realized my path and choice of who I would be and what I chose to stand by. And I made up decisions of what I would do and what I wouldn't do for my life, and what I'd be willing to go through and what I wouldn't be willing to go through if I had to. But I would hope I would never have to. And I was told by the higher form self that I wouldn't, that I'd be okay. And if I was put through it, those who put me through it would not like what happens, because it would mess with them really bad in ways they wouldn't want to be messed with. And not in ways that would make them happy, ways that would really irritate their life because of them choosing to do that to mine. Meaning they would be given things or being put through things that they would never want to be put through. And not in the way that they chose to do to me, but in ways they would not want done unto them. And so I was told to let people be warned that whatever you do to me, you'll have stuff done to you that you don't want done unto you. It won't be the stuff you do to me that's done unto you. It will be stuff that you don't want done unto you or people you love, because it will affect them too because of the connection to lifetimes. And I was told the same thing, that I should be careful doing certain things to others as best as I can, but that I was okay because of my heart, because I would always try to do what I felt was right. And if I knew better, I would make sure not to do certain things or avoid certain things so that I don't get in the way of those individual situations. But when they wrongly accuse me of me or misinterpret what my intentions were, that won't be on me, that will be on their energies. But it's because they want that in their life. It's because, or they didn't want that, but they manifested it thinking it had to show up or that it was going to. And they just kind of used me as their catalyst for it when they didn't need to. But they wanted someone to, or they didn't want someone to, but they figured it would occur, and so it did. And that's how we manifest things, good and bad, is by knowing that it will, even if we don't want it to. But also, if we want it to, and knowing it will, that's a better focus, because that's something you would really want. And so focus as though it already has, and that's how it shows up. But there's a way to bless it to be faster, and people are still trying to catch on to accepting whether they want that or not. Some don't, but those of us who have suffered enough want to. And I don't know how many of you there are out there, but if you want it as much as I do, you would want to call me right away so that we could actually manifest it freely. Because I'm not talking about buying anything. I'm talking about, I'm a minister, so I do this free. You call me, you work with me, and we'll manifest it. And then if we need to eat, we'll go eat, and then we'll come back and we'll be persistent at it until it's done. And then maybe we'll have to talk another day and then come back right away, because that's what we both want, because we need to get it done, because that's how it works. Is you can do it under 3 minutes or sooner, or depending on how many people are doing it together equally with unconditional love focus, we can do pretty much anything. So that's why I became my own minister. But many want to stop us from doing that, and so they have tried to block my calls of others reaching out to me, or they've called other people and warned them after talking to me, saying false things, when all I'm about is, let's just make a better world. The world's already shitty enough already, it's crappy enough already, and we just need to do the right thing for ourselves, for all. And we all individually matter in the heart. And so I always say in the hearts of hearts, because the hearts of hearts is the Christ consciousness or God connection. And you can call it God, you can call it whatever. 369, all sorts of stuff. So we are connected to different forms of lifetime. So it's possible that the werewolf connection I might be going towards or will, but it feels like maybe another lifetime I have, or in this one I have, and somehow my mind or someone covered it up and made me forget it, but I still have the leftover scar crease that healed really fast, by the way, showing that I could be still. But if I am a vegan in real life, so someone said that they saw a really skinny bear wolf that looked like it was starving. That might be me, because I don't eat meat. And so if I was a werewolf, maybe my werewolf self wouldn't eat meat either. Only fruits and vegetables or something. But why would I be stalking and wandering around everywhere? I don't know. Who knows? Okay. Also, the connection that I've noticed that happens with all of us, and people want to ignore that this is even possible because they can't fathom this, and they think if this is the case, then we're demons for doing it, to having that connection. But then how do they know they're not doing this? They might in their dreams, and they may not remember, and they might not remember any dreams when they sleep. So maybe they are, and they're completely blacking out and not remembering it, and their brain won't remember it at all. So how do they know that they're not somewhere else when they're sleeping? So that's another thing. So it could be that when we dream, we're not just going into other timelines, we're going into other lifetimes in this realm we're already in. And we're connecting with them. And then while we're in them, as we're sleeping and it feels like a dream, walking around, and it's not lucid, but when it's lucid, we notice what we are. But then those that are this other, when they're sleeping, they, this is where it gets interesting. How do we know they're not in us while we're in them? Body switching. Or not body switching, but soul swapping. And then we go back in when we wake up. When we startle ourselves or wake up or connect, and we sever the connection and wake up that way. But there is no time when you connect in the astral realm or other connection of remote viewing or whatever it is. Sense 8 is a show. Gets a little bit explicit though, so for those of you that don't want to watch shows that might have nakedness or other stuff in it, I wouldn't recommend that show, but it does bring up stuff about connections with quantum entanglement connections. So a better show that would probably explain that connection would be Ant-Man and the Wasp, a Marvel movie. And you would notice that he went in the quantum realm of the old Ant-Man, his trainer's wife, when she was the Wasp, and he was the Ant-Man, the older guy, and his wife. And then so the new Ant-Man was in the quantum realm in the first movie, and because he was in the quantum realm in the first movie, he connected with her wife somehow, possibly for the second movie. When they tried to activate it again to connect with her, he had a dream about her as if he was her, and then he looked through a mirror as she was doing hide and seek in that memory of the quantum realm, and he saw her instead of himself, in the mirror, and he's just like, what the? And so we have dreams like that, and how do we know we're not connected to quantum connections, quantum realm, or in other through time or space, or at the same time that you're sleeping in? How do you know you're waking up in their bed at the same time that you're in, to where it's just somehow you're there with them in their body, and you can see in their picture frames or their mirrors and see that you're them. And so there's been times where when that's happened, I've wanted to go, I need to write this down and say, I just remote viewed in your body. My name's Sam. Call me 801-499-4494. Now, would I have enough time to write all that out? Because when you get agitated, or you're able to lucid dream and do that kind of thing, are you able to tell that person? And will you even meet that person? I know that I met one of the remote viewing connected persons. And I don't know if I was remote viewing through a person or a dog or a creature or what, but it seemed like it was a person, but I don't know who. And so somehow I was connected to someone in someone's home, and I remember seeing the way that they had their setup, the way that it was, that I was going to see that in the future, and then I ended up seeing their home and being there. But there's also time loops. So I may have been in some form of time loop. How do I know? So there is a lot of confusion, and there is a lot of stuff that happens, that we are connected to each other in some way. But people get confused, and they think it's all about them, and they think that that person is talking about them, or maybe they're doing it to them, when it really has nothing to do with them. It was some person entirely not them. But others always think that others are talking about them. And I've done it too. Everybody has. When really it's about an experience of other things. Because everybody feels like they are the center of the whole universe. Everybody is. But everybody also isn't. We're both. We all matter, though, in the heart, and that's all I care about. Is I just want everybody's dreams to come true. I want you to manifest the funds, the house, the desired spouse, desired atmosphere that you desire to have unconditionally. And I'm about unconditional love, being authentic, and following your self-worth. Yes, I have a lot of weird ideas and weird ways of explaining things, and yes, I'm an ex-Mormon. I'm whatever. I'm my own minister now, so I follow my path of what I feel is strange to some, but really I follow my heart, and I am aware of all these other ideas. Do I agree or disagree with any of them? Not necessarily. I do know the remote viewing is a real thing. I do know that, I don't know if I call it probably quantum entanglement, maybe similar but different, where you're in someone else's body, but then they might be in yours while you're in theirs, so there's no confusion there. But maybe they're there while you're there. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes you're in a situation where you feel like you are in a situation where you're reacting to that situation, but you don't realize you're in a dream. Those dreams, I feel, are futuristic dreams, where you're seeing a future choice and decision you're going to make and be later on. That is something that happens too. But it also could happen as a possible future, not really the full, and you may not know why you're reacting or choosing those choices. Plus, when you're in another person's body and you have these cravings for things you used to eat and you don't eat now, you're eating what they want to eat there, and so you choose to eat those things thinking it's okay. But in real life, you would never want to eat those things or have that option, and you would know how to stop yourself from doing so. But in the dream experience, if you're that other person, or that forgetting your true knowledge of self, of conscious self, you choose stuff that you may still crave, but you don't do anymore. but in the dream you'll do it because of certain situations or people influencing you to, or whatever, thinking it's okay, enticing you, whatever. Honestly, there's just a lot. And so I feel follow your heart, do what you feel is right for you. But yeah, so past life, maybe, maybe not. Do I know if I'm any past? The closest I would say is Christ's self, and unconditional, and that everybody's okay, and everybody's connected, and everybody's one, and God connected self. Beyond that, I was told that Zenock and Enoch is a lot like me, and Joseph, and then maybe Samuel, who was the first Samuel that came to America. Maybe that was me, but I don't remember. And maybe the different stuff that I did quizzes that told me I was a lone gun monk. That sounds like something maybe I would be, but I don't really like guns. But it would explain why I was really good at target practice once. I did shoot a gun a long time ago when before I was on disability or anything. I was able to do it at a gun range, and I got good shots, and I still have that thing showing that I can aim a gun really well. But I'm horrible at doing any games, and I don't like killing. I prefer to be a healer. In any game that I'm in, I prefer to be a healer or follow the light side or whatever, as best as possible. Have I done dark side stuff? Yes, in games, but I don't like it. I don't prefer it. I prefer doing good and spiritual stuff. Fable, I had a hard time being the bad guy in Fable. I always had to be good form, but there was times I wanted to see where it would go, so I tested both sides because I was influenced to. But I don't like that. I like to be more of the light, maybe balanced, but more of the light, more healing, peace, because I've already dealt with enough pain in my life. I don't want to cause pain in any realm, even if to know the storyline. It's really difficult for me to be part of that. Doesn't mean I don't watch movies that aren't necessarily dark connected, just for intel. And I do it so others don't have to. But it doesn't mean I like them. I prefer good feeling spiritual movies and romantic movies that bring your true dream self into being, and your dream life, dream spouse to come and be. Anyway, so there you go. So yeah, Christ's self is definitely me, and God's self, and they reach out to me. The pink rose quartz connects with me, light ray. I saw purple kind of start following, but I've been really hot lately from all these waves from Schumann resonance, and so has everybody, and it's because a ton of purple waves have hit us, and we're ready to shift by the 19th of February, possibly. Bless all.